and then you might have to go to battle. You might be on that battlefield, and you might have to draw that sword up against your own uncle.
What is the most important thing in a family?
What is the most important thing in a family? That they stay connected with each other through the divine guidance of Allah and the prophetic footsteps that the Prophet, peace be upon him, left us with. Because if you think about it, the difference between families who will stay together in this life and in the next is only one difference. If we don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will never meet our family again.
What do you mean by that?
In the hereafter. So no matter how close you are as a brother or sister or father, if you don't believe in, let's say your brother, or let's say you, right, you have two different faiths, so this is what we believe in Islam, that you will never be with your family, especially if you don't have belief in Allah, because the only way you can make it to paradise, belief in God, right? And then the Prophet, peace be upon him, this is our belief.
Yeah.
So no matter how close you are with your family in this life, you know how they say a family that prays together stays together, but a family who believes in Allah and the Prophet ﷺ and all the fundamentals of Islam and also the 6 pillars of Iman, and they might have differences here and there, but if they're under the same umbrella, as long as they stay under that umbrella, this is what inshallah will get them to join again in the hereafter. So the most important thing to have in a family is being connected through Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. That's what I believe.
What do you say to those who are not Muslims?
I say become Muslim. Say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Allah has given you a family, and you want to stay with that family in the afterlife as well. So you want to bring each other to the truth. I think true family, they say that faith is thicker than blood. This is our belief. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْإِخْوَةِ. Indeed, the brothers, the people in faith are brothers and sisters, right? And sometimes you will see in the seerah that the Sahaba would be battling against their own fathers and uncles for the sake of this deen. And I know we stress how وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا لَا تُشْرِكُ بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, that do not set up partners with God and be the best to your parents. But we also forget that part where this deen calls for us to be so firm in it that if your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, yourself, if you're going against Allah, then you stand up for Allah first. And then you might have to go to battle. You might be on that battlefield, and you might have to draw that sword up against your own uncle. But it's only for the sake of Allah, right? And so I think it's important that the families stay connected by Allah, through Allah, for Allah.
I think no, you should clarify this a little bit more, because I don't know who was watching this or who may end up watching it.
Sure.
What my worry or concern is revolve around those people who are not Muslims, and they will take. I feel like they may take this stereotypical response.
Sure.
And they might look at all the violent portrayal of Muslims that are being showed.
Sure.
And they might say, so what are you saying? You're saying to go and take the sword against your uncle. So I think give some context.
Sure.
Give us a situation. It doesn't necessarily mean that, although it could happen.
Yes.
Not saying that, but give us like a practical situation where
now it's more of an intellectual jihad. What I mean by that, intellectual battle. So you might, as a child, have a truth standard that goes against your parents. That could be for anything. What we believe as Muslims, the capital T is Islam. We definitively believe in the truth, and we believe that to be Islam. And there are ways that evidentially we can prove that to you. And that's for a different discussion. So we have to find our ways to study this religion, whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, and find out the truth. God has given everybody the capacity, the mental capacity, the creative capacity to understand truth. That's not something I own or you own. That's why we say in Surah Al-Fatiha, our opening chapter, and in every prayer, guide us to the straight path. So as a Muslim, we're saying that, right? So why are we saying that? Because we know we don't own guidance. So nobody takes a hold of guidance. Now what I meant to clarify is sometimes you got to go into battle with your own uncle, is that you will find even in this life when, for non-religious purposes, you'll see a parent, like two spouses fighting with each other about their truth standards. You'll see a daughter telling her father, like, Dad, this is not right. You can't be racist, or you can't, whatever they believe in, right? And so they're so engulfed in their truth standards that they are willing to go against their father, mother, cousins, whoever it is, based on their beliefs. So we say, take that and now look at the religions that claim, and we don't believe Islam to be a religion. We believe it to be a way of life.
Way of life, for sure.
Right? So that should be the biggest truth to anybody. So for our non-Muslim viewers, what we're saying is that when you find the truth, you will come at a point where people, your own folks, will deny the truth. And you have to, with wisdom, with dignity, you have to sometimes tell them what it is, right? But you will be pushed, you will be, tested, right? You have to have thick skin, and sometimes you will be tested the most when you stick up to your truth, right? And so I'm saying that this is how it is for everyone, regardless if you believe in a God or not. There are principles in life. You have to understand where they come from, and if it's coming from God, that's the one time you can't break your stance, or you can't take that firmness away. So this is what I mean by standing up for the rights and whatnot.
And again, when we talk about the internal jihad, we were talking about is that internal battle, how difficult it is for a son who is a Muslim and feels like he's on the truth versus the parents who are not willing to be on the same page. For a son to break away from that family, that is an internal struggle.
Of course.
An internal because all your life, maybe you are a son who have been so used to being with your family, gelled with family, and now you're going to go the opposite direction. So that is the internal battle that you're having.
Of course.
That is the internal war that you're having.
Of course.
It doesn't necessarily mean that as a son now, you're overtly hurting your parents. That's not what we're saying. Neither that is encouraged, whether it's your parents or if it's a family member.
Absolutely.
Muslim, non-Muslim.
Absolutely.
That's not what we're saying here.
No.
But
let's that's one aspect of it.
Sure.
And this is what we can obviously, this is a longer topic, but let's put it this way: are people dying for the rights of other people? Like, for example, Palestinian rights, and then also Black Lives Matter, and then also all these other things that we see in the news nowadays, right? People are physically dying for what they believe to be true. So I don't want us to shy away for those who genuinely, truly say that God is the only one that they'll die for. Now, in our religion, there are ways that you become a martyr. And it's not your typical Hollywood movie, Allahu Akbar type of thing where all these things that they tell us about, you're going to get virgins, this, all that stuff. Right? What we say is that someone can, in Islam, by saving even someone else, saving a life, if they are killed by saving a life, whether it's Muslim or not.
You have saved the entire humanity.
Exactly, right? And if you kill a life, it's like killing all of humanity.
All of humanity.
These are principles from our belief system.
Surah Ma'idah, which is what, chapter 5? Or no, Surah Ma'idah is?
I believe so, yeah.
Surah Ma'idah. It's from the chapter of the Quran.
So I'm saying, but people die for saving their property. People have died because of, saving, we're from Bangladesh, right? They tried to safeguard their language, the freedom to speak.
The war of 1971.
Exactly. People die for so many reasons, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to protect your family, that's also a type of martyrdom, right? So I'm saying that in a real world, there's internal jihad, but then also physical jihad. Sometimes you will come face to face with but that's a different topic, obviously. I think